Today, I want to talk about this phone because it's 300 quid cheaper than this phone and, This year, Honor has already given us the Magic 6 Lite, which is incredibly good value and very durable. They also gave us, and I know this came out last year, but we've only just got it in the UK, the Magic V2, which is the thinnest and just most incredible foldable smartphone. Now this is Honor's flagship offering. It's the Magic 6 Pro. And on paper, it has the right credentials. It's got the latest Snapdragon chip. It's got a crazy camera system with AI stuff built into it. And it's got a display that has a maximum peak brightness of 5,000 nits. I'll get onto that later and what I think about this compared to the iPhone 15 Pro Max later as well. But in the meantime, let's dig into this. So the Magic 6 Pro is powered by a Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 chip with 12GB of RAM, it's got 512GB of storage, and it runs the latest Magic OS 8. It's got a 6.8-inch quad-curved floating display with a 120Hz refresh rate and Dolby Vision support. That display has a sustained brightness of 1600 nits and a peak brightness, as I mentioned, of 5000 nits. It comes in black and green and features Honor's Nano Crystal Shield and SGS certification for enhanced durability, along with IP68 water and dust resistance. I'll explain the camera system later, but the headline feature is that it has a 180 megapixel periscope lens. Powering this thing is a 5600 mAh battery, which is a second generation silicon carbon battery, and that has 80 watt fast charging and wireless charging. In the UK, the Magic 6 Pro is going to cost £1,099. However, in true Honor fashion, they are giving a few things away if you order this at launch. That includes the Earbuds X6, which are launching in mid-March, a 100-watt supercharged plug, and an Honor Pad 8 tablet. So some nice carrots placed there if you fancy ordering this straight away, but should you? Let's find out. Starting with the design of this, and Honor uses the frankly brilliant name Squircle for the design language on the Magic 6 Pro, and I just adore that word. And they are brilliant at doing this. All of Honor's phones look interesting. This particular design is inspired by luxury wearables, apparently. I'm not the sort of person to comment on that at all, so I won't. But what I will say is that this is a very premium looking and feeling phone. I know we're in the era of titanium phones these days, but this still holds its own very well. I love the matte finish on the back, which isn't too slippery. The sides, which are this kind of polished, shiny, dark metal, just look really, really smart. And the whole thing has a weight to it, which isn't much heavier than the iPhone 15 Pro Max, but just feels substantial and as though it's ready for business. They've also used an industry first 3D carving process, which is double-sided apparently. I have no idea what that means, but it's just a lovely thing. And let's talk about the display. I don't know how Honor keeps doing this, but it's bright, it's vibrant, and no matter what you think about curved displays on smartphones, which has never bothered me, it's really, well, it just really draws you in. And I'm sorry, Tim, but if you compare this against the iPhone 15 Pro Max display, this one is better. Yes, that's incredibly subjective, and if you want to fight me about this, do it in the comments. Now that 5000 nits of peak brightness does exist, but it's only for HDR content, and it's not going to do it for very long if it does it. But you wouldn't want 5000 nits of brightness smashing into your eyes. The 1600 nits of sustained brightness, well, that's more reasonable, and like I say, it's just a very bright screen. It also has a bunch of eye comfort features, which Honor is building into all of its phones at the moment. These include dynamic dimming, 4320Hz PWM dimming, a circadian night display which changes the temperature of the screen as the day wears on, and something called nature tone display, which is basically like True Tone on the iPhone. It changes the white balance on the phone so that the whites look white throughout the day. They don't look blue at any point or too orange. It's really smart. You don't get this on many Android phones, and it's nice to have it on the Magic 6 Pro. It also has facial recognition and a fingerprint reader beneath the display, which works very, very well, and I want the iPhone to have that. However, there is one thing on that spec sheet for the Magic 6 Pro, which means I do need to do a test, which I'm not looking forward to. It's this nano crystal shield, which means apparently you can drop this from a height of up to 1.5 meters onto a wooden floor without trouble. Now, I did this with the Magic 6 Lite, and it was amazing how that phone fared. This is considerably more expensive, and let's do it. Okay, so I've checked 1.5 meters and it's roughly that wooden table surface to about here. I've left some stuff on the table to make this a bit more trepidatious. Here goes nothing. This feels so wrong. Ooh. That didn't feel or sound great. It also hit this lens cap on the way down as well. So the display is spotless. There's not a single crack, not a single mark anywhere. As for the sides of the device, and I'll show you this now on some B-roll so you can see that I'm not lying, I can't see anything. There's not a single mark on this phone, no signs of damage whatsoever. That is impressive. That was seriously impressive. There's not a single mark on this, and it felt really high. Anyway, performance, and I don't do benchmarks. I don't do any kind of performance testing apart from trying it really, and just seeing how it feels in everyday life. As you'd expect, running the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3, this is a super speedy phone. It really does zip along and it never feels sluggish, which is what you expect from a flagship smartphone. But in terms of going from the 8 Gen 2 to the 8 Gen 3, you can expect up to 30% improvements in CPU performance and a 25% increase in GPU performance. The presence of that Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 chip does open up the Magic 6 Pro to AI features, a lot of stuff which hasn't been put into Magic OS 8 at the moment, so at the time of filming this review, I can't show you those AI features, but they are on the way. This includes the introduction of the Magic Portal, which is Honor's way of predicting what you want to do next. So for instance, if you get a text message and it references an event, you can go from that to your calendar without having to think about it. The last thing on performance is the battery life, and I haven't charged this since yesterday morning. Since then, I've been setting it up, using it to take photos, testing it, basically using it a lot. It's now 3:30 p.m. the next day, and it has 42% remaining. It absolutely crushes the iPhone 15 Pro Max. This makes a massive difference to the user experience, and I think when it comes to flagship smartphones, when you bear in mind what they're doing in terms of performance and the camera system and all of the stuff built into them, you need stellar battery life. This keeps falling short. Let's talk photos, and while I show you some photos taken with the Magic 6 Pro, these are completely unedited, straight out of the camera, no messing. Let's talk about the camera system itself. It's got a 180 megapixel periscope telephoto camera, which is a 2.5x optical zoom. You can zoom up to 100x, but like any phone that does that, well, the results are fairly inconsistent after 10x. 10x actually is quite impressive, even in low light. Even though that is a digital zoom, I was impressed with the photos I got with 10x. There's also a 50 megapixel ultra-wide camera, and the selfie camera is a 50 megapixel unit as well. During this part of the review, I feel like I have to give you that caveat that smartphone photography is massively personal. This is very, very subjective. You may not like these photos, you may love these photos, but it's purely an opinion. And Honor photos really do have a look. They are quite sharpened, they're quite contrasty, and sometimes I think they look very pixel-like. And for me, bearing in mind I love the pixel camera, that is a very good thing indeed. As a result, they don't always leap off the display like a S24 Ultra photo might do, but again, this is very subjective. However, the most important thing with Honor photography is the fact that it is very reliable. This is the case with the Magic 6 Lite, with the Magic V2, and the Magic 6 Pro is just the same. You can rely on this thing to take photos that are sharp, in focus, and composed the way you want them to be composed every single time. There's also a bunch of AI features built into this camera system, including AI motion sensing capture. Now, unfortunately, I didn't get time to go and check out a football match or any other kind of sporting activity while I was reviewing this phone, so you'll just have to put up with me taking pot shots at a basketball net downstairs in the studio. But hopefully this gives you some idea of the sort of stuff you can capture with this AI feature. In terms of video, the Magic 6 Pro shoots up to 4K at 60 frames per second, which can be beaten by certain flagships like the S24 Ultra, but that is a much more expensive phone. And to be honest, I've never needed more than 60 frames a second. And I think the Magic 6 Pro produces some very nice looking footage. Okay, this is testing the front-facing camera on the Magic 6 Pro. As always, I haven't changed anything to do with the audio, the video. This is 4K, 30 frames a second. That's the maximum you get on this front-facing camera. The street I'm on is very noisy, a bit windy. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Okay, so is the Magic 6 Pro better than the iPhone 15 Pro Max? I'm going to give you some reasons why I think it is. Price, this is £300 cheaper than this. Battery life, there is no competition here. This is so much better when it comes to battery stamina compared to this. The display on this is so much better to my eyes than this. This has a fingerprint sensor, this doesn't. Now the iPhone does win when it comes to the ecosystem for me, because if you know me, I am completely wedged in Apple's ecosystem. But having said that, Honor does have a very good ecosystem itself. This is made of titanium, but I think you pay for that and they don't feel any different. The camera system is subjectively better on the iPhone purely because it has that 5x optical zoom, which is utterly amazing, but this takes incredible photos and it's really accurate. So in terms of the camera system, actually it's a tie. And this brings me on to the conclusion about the Magic 6 Pro. For the price, it is incredibly impressive. Honor keeps driving down the cost of smartphones and they don't do anything to the quality to make you feel like you're being shortchanged. It's built like a tank. I cannot believe it completely survived that drop over there unscathed. If you're in the market for a flagship smartphone and you're not wedded to the Apple ecosystem and you've got no interest in Samsung and all the Galaxy AI stuff and you want to save yourself quite a bit of money, this really does make a very good case to be in your pocket or bag. However, if you're interested in what Honor can do with a foldable smartphone, keep watching for a link to my full review of the Honor Magic V2.